Hello RPG enthusiasts, welcome back to RPG PhD, the channel where we dive deep into the art and science of tabletop role-playing games. I'm Dr. Ben, and today we're exploring a fascinating narrative structure called Kishotenketsu, and how you, as a game master, can use it to craft compelling stories for your campaigns. So let's get started. Kishotenketsu is a traditional narrative structure originating from East Asian cultures, particularly Japan, China, and Korea. Unlike the classic Western narrative structures, which often hinge on conflict and resolution, Kishotenketsu focuses on the natural progression of events and contrasts. It's a refreshing way to tell stories that can bring a unique flavor to your tabletop role-playing games. Western narratives are typically based on some variation of Aristotle's three-act structure. Act 1, pity, introduction of a sympathetic character with a relatable goal. Act 2, fear, raising stakes as the character faces challenging obstacles. Act 3, catharsis, the character's success or failure brings about change. Western stories often center on a proactive character pursuing a specific goal, creating dramatic tension around their potential success or failure. This approach is often termed a dharmic structure, where the character's path towards a tangible goal is the focal point. In contrast, Kishotenketsu follows a different pattern, focusing on natural progression and contrast rather than conflict. Characters typically react to unforeseen circumstances rather than actively pursuing goals. This karmic structure emphasizes cause and effect, with the story advancing through surprising developments that recontextualize the narrative. Key differences. Proactive versus responsive. In Western structures, characters are usually proactive, driving the plot through their actions toward a goal. Kishotenketsu characters are typically responsive, with the plot driven by external events and their reactions. Conflict versus natural progression. Western stories often hinge on conflict and resolution, while Kishotenketsu relies on the natural flow of events, emphasizing context and unexpected twists. This comparison highlights the distinct narrative philosophies underpinning Western and Eastern storytelling traditions. Some literary theorists argue that the emphasis on responsive characters in Kishotenketsu stems from Taoism and Buddhism influence on Chinese, Korean, and Japanese culture. Taoism promotes wu-wei, or skillful non-action, encouraging living in harmony with nature and circumstances. Buddhism advocates for achieving nirvana by extinguishing cravings and focusing on gratitude for what one has. These philosophies align with the karmic structure of Kishotenketsu, where characters react to events rather than actively seeking goals. Consequently, proactive fortune-seeking characters in Western narratives often appear as villains in Eastern stories, fitting within their moral philosophical framework. The structure of Kishotenketsu is comprised of four distinct parts: Ki, Sho, Ten, and Ketsu. Let's break down what each of these parts entails. Ki, introduction. This is the setup phase, where you introduce the setting, characters, and the basic premise. Think of it as laying the groundwork for your adventure. Your players need to get a sense of the world they're stepping into and the key elements that will shape their journey. Sho, development. In this phase, you build on the foundation laid in Ki. It's all about developing the story and deepening the context. Characters are explored more thoroughly and the world becomes more intricate. This part is crucial for establishing a sense of normalcy and routine before the twist. 10. Twist. This is where things get interesting. The twist is an unexpected event or revelation that changes the direction of the story. It doesn't have to be a conflict. It could be a surprising piece of information or an unseen event that shifts the narrative focus. Ketsu. Conclusion. The final part is the conclusion, where all the narrative threads come together. It's about resolving the story in a way that feels satisfying and coherent. The player should feel a sense of closure as the various elements introduced and developed throughout the story are tied up. The beauty of Kishotenketsu is its ability to create engaging stories without relying on conflict. Instead, it emphasizes natural progression and the importance of perspective. This makes it a perfect fit for tabletop role-playing games where player choice and story immersion are key. So now let's go a little deeper into each part with some examples for your role-playing campaign. The first part of Kishotenketsu, Ki, is all about laying the groundwork for your story. As a game master, your role in this phase is to create a rich, immersive environment that draws your players in and sets the stage for the adventure to come. Here's how you can effectively introduce your campaign using the Ki phase. Setting the scene. Begin by vividly describing the world your players are entering. This could be a bustling city, a quaint village, a mysterious forest, or an ancient ruin. The goal is to paint a picture that captures the essence of the setting. For example, your journey begins in the port city of Eldoria, where the salty breeze mingles with the aromas of exotic spices and fresh fish. The cobblestone streets are alive with the chatter of merchants, the clinking of coins, and the distant call of seagulls. Introduce the main NPCs that will be central to your story. These characters should be intriguing and multi-dimensional with their own goals, motivations, and backstories. In the heart of the market, you see Captain Thorn, the stern leader of the city guard, his eyes always scanning for trouble. Across the way, Marissa, the shrewd merchant leader, bargains fiercely with a foreign trader. Set up the basic situation. It could be a mystery to solve, a quest to undertake, or a problem to address. The key is to provide a hook that gives the player something to react to. Recently, there have been whispers of unrest among the merchant guilds and rumors of corruption within the city guard. The fortune teller hints at something looming over Eldoria, something ancient and powerful that stirs beneath the waves. Before diving into the adventure, allow your players to experience a sense of normalcy in the world. Let them interact with the environment and the NPCs, perform everyday activities, and get a feel for the world as it normally operates. This sets a baseline that makes the later twist more impactful. As you spend your first day in Eldoria, you might help a merchant unload their goods, visit a local tavern to hear the latest gossip, or assist the city guard with a minor disturbance. These interactions help you understand the rhythms of life in Eldoria and the dynamics at play among its inhabitants. By carefully crafting the key phase, you provide a strong foundation for your story. Your players become invested in the world and its characters, eagerly anticipating what lies ahead. Now that we've set the stage with key, let's move on to show, the development phase. This is where you expand on the foundation laid in the introduction, allowing the story to unfold and gain depth. In this phase, you build on the characters, setting an initial premise, weaving together various narrative threads that will keep your players engaged and invested. In the show phase, you introduce more details about the setting and its history. This helps create a richer and more immersive world for your players to explore. You can reveal new locations, delve into the lore, and introduce subplots that add complexity to the main story. As your players spend more time in Eldoria, they might discover the ancient catacombs beneath the city, rumored to be haunted by spirits of long-dead sailors. They could learn about the city's founding by a legendary pirate queen, whose treasure is said to be hidden somewhere nearby. Deepen the relationships between your players' characters and the NPCs. This can involve personal quests, story revelations, or emotional connections that make the characters feel more real and relatable. The more invested your players are in the characters, the more impactful the story will be. Captain Thorn, initially seen as a stern authority figure, might show a softer side as he shares stories of his lost family with the players. Marissa, the merchant leader, could enlist the players' help in a secretive trade negotiation, revealing her ambitions and vulnerabilities. Use subplots to add depth and complexity to the main narrative. These can be smaller, interconnected stories that enrich the overall plot and provide additional opportunities for character development and exploration. While investigating the unrest among the merchant guilds, the players might stumble upon a black market dealing in forbidden artifacts. This subplot could lead them to uncover a secret society that has been manipulating events in Eldoria for centuries. Gradually increase the tension and introduce elements that foreshadow the upcoming twist. This keeps the players on their toes and creates a sense of anticipation for what's to come. Subtle hints, mysterious events, and escalating stakes all contribute to building this tension. Strange occurrences begin to happen around Eldoria. A sudden storm that damages ships in the harbor, sightings of ghostly apparitions near the catacombs, and an increase in disappearances among the city's inhabitants. The fortune teller's cryptic warnings become more urgent, hinting at a coming disaster that only the players can prevent. By carefully developing the story in the show phase, you create a rich layered narrative that captivates your players. Each new detail, character interaction, and subplot adds depth to the world, making it feel alive and dynamic. Now we've reached the 10 phase, the twist, where the story takes an unexpected turn. This is a pivotal moment in Kishotenketsu and can be incredibly impactful in a tabletop role-playing game. The twist changes the direction of the narrative, adding a new layer of complexity and prompting your players to reconsider what they thought they knew. Also, the twist doesn't have to be earth-shattering or even a negative event. Twists can be used for humor, or just to surprise the players. The twist should be surprising but also feel like a natural progression of the story. Think about elements you've introduced in the key and show phases that you can turn on their head. The twist should be significant enough to alter players' understanding of the story and compel them to take new actions. The ghost ship that appears in Eldoria's harbor is not just an eerie phenomenon, it's the cursed vessel of the legendary pirate queen who founded the city. The ship's arrival signals the awakening of an ancient curse tied to the city's prosperity. As the players investigate, they realize that all the inhabitants they have met are actually spirits bound to the city, unaware of their ghostly nature. This revelation recontextualizes the player's understanding of Eldoria and its mysterious haunting atmosphere. The moment you introduce the twist should be dramatic and memorable. Use vivid descriptions and sensory details to make the event come alive. Consider how the twist affects the environment, the NPCs, and the player's characters. This is a moment of revelation that should leave a lasting impression. As night falls, a thick fog rolls into the harbor, obscuring the ships. The air grows cold, and ghostly wails echo through the streets. Suddenly, a massive spectral ship emerges from the mist, its tattered sails glowing with an eerie light. The city falls into chaos as the ghost ship docks, and spectral figures begin to disembark, heading towards the heart of Eldoria. The twist often involves revealing information that changes the player's perspective on the story. This could be a hidden truth about a character, a secret about the setting, or a new threat that was previously unknown. The revelation should be both surprising and logical, fitting seamlessly into the narrative. The fortune teller reveals that she is the descendant of the pirate queen's first mate, cursed to guard the city against the queen's return. She's been trying to warn the players and guide them. The players must now piece together clues from their previous interactions and decide how to deal with the ghost ship and its crew. With the arrival of the ghost ship, the players must now find a way to break the curse and send the spectral crew and the city's inhabitants back to their eternal rest. They might need to find a lost artifact, perform an ancient ritual, or confront the ghostly pirate queen herself. The twist has shifted their focus from local politics to a supernatural threat, requiring them to use both their previous knowledge and new skills. The twist sets the stage for the final phase, Ketsu, where the story will come to a resolution. Use the aftermath of the twist to build anticipation and tension, leading your players towards a satisfying conclusion. As the players investigate the curse, they uncover more about Eldoria's history and the true nature of the Pirate Queen's legacy. They face mounting dangers from spectral attacks to political intrigue, all building towards a showdown that will determine the fate of the city. By skillfully incorporating the twist, you can elevate your campaign to new heights, creating a memorable and engaging experience for your players. The twist adds depth and excitement to the story, challenging your players to adapt and think creatively. We've arrived at the final part of Kishotenketsu, the Ketsu, or conclusion. This is where you bring all the narrative threads together and provide a satisfying resolution to the story. The Ketsu phase is crucial for giving your players a sense of closure and accomplishment. The conclusion should address and resolve the main plot points and subplots introduced throughout the campaign. Ensure that the players see the results of their actions and decisions, providing closure to the various narrative threads. After numerous encounters and investigations, the players gather all the necessary components to break the curse of the ghost ship. They perform the ancient ritual, which involves returning the Pirate Queen's lost treasure to its rightful place. The spirits of the crew and the city are finally at peace, and the ghost ship vanishes into the mist. The unique thing about Kishotenketsu is that they do not have to tell a transformative story, meaning your characters don't necessarily have to suffer trauma and come out better or worse for it. While bringing the current story to a close, you can also plant seeds for future adventures. This keeps the players excited about the ongoing campaign and provides a smooth transition into the next story arc. By carefully crafting the Ketsu phase, you ensure that your story concludes in a satisfying and meaningful way. Your players should feel a sense of accomplishment and closure with the narrative threads neatly tied up. This not only provides a rewarding end to the current campaign, but also sets the stage for future adventures. And that wraps up our exploration of Kishotenketsu and tabletop role-playing games. I hope you found this breakdown helpful and inspiring for your own games. Remember, the beauty of Kishotenketsu lies in its natural progression and emphasis on storytelling over conflict. Use this structure to create rich, immersive narratives that captivate your players from start to finish. If you've ever used Kishotenketsu in your own game, share your experiences in the comment sections below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more RPG tips and tricks. This is Dr. Ben from RPG PhD. Thanks for watching. See you next time.